We'll stick to the topic.
Stick to the topic. Absolutely. Who are you and where are you? Do you have a podcast?
No, I've just started.
Okay. And what's on your mind?
I'll answer whatever questions. I just want to have a good conversation, nothing else.
Sorry, you have to say that again. A jet has just flown over my head and I can't hear anything. Wait a sec. Sorry, repeat that.
Can you hear that?
I can hear you now. Yeah, I just moved inside. Sorry, I live near like an Air Force base, and one of the planes just took off.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying that I just want to have a good conversation, nothing else.
Yeah, super. So the topic is relationships, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, super cool. So, why is this topic important for you right now? Why is this interesting for you?
It's just one facet of life, right? Just like how money is important. So, in the same way, even relationships are important. So that is something vital in everyone's life, I feel.
Absolutely. So, what do you think makes a successful relationship then? What are the keys from your knowledge and your experience and your perspective?
I feel that first we need to have a good relationship with ourselves. We need to understand what kind of a person we are. Then only we'll be able to understand other people.
So it's self-knowledge first, basically.
Yeah, right. Because if you are not aware of the kind of person you are, you may just unintentionally hurt people who come in your way. Right?
Okay, super. And so what's your experience with relationships so far in life? Have you been through a lot of positive relationships, a lot of negative relationships? Which direction have you been going in?
See, actually, there's a mix of both positive and negative. So negative, I would say, are the ones which happened because of my own limitations. So I'm not a very social person, okay? And whenever I'm in a group of people, they often misunderstand me as someone who is not approachable or is not very social and everything.
Well, there's a lot of pressure put on people to be social now, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to build good relationships, and say you're looking for a partner in life, you're under a lot of pressure, right? You have to go out, you have to be somebody, right?
Yeah, but I don't think I'll ever do that because I've been into that trap once and it doesn't work at all. So I don't think that's a good option for me.
Yeah, well, what's the thing? Be yourself because everyone else is taken, right? So, you just have to be yourself and go your own way, right?
Yeah, right. But not just be in denial. Or just that be yourself is also a good way to rationalize your bad behavior. Like I feel.
Okay, so are you saying that it's negative to rationalize your bad behavior? Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Okay, but some people, they don't know that they're behaving bad, right? Because everybody's normal is different.
Yeah. Right.
So how what are the standards? I mean, what do you hold on to? I mean, do you get your standards from your friends, your family, your culture, your religion, your country, your government? Where does that come from?
See, I used to do that before. Like I used to, if I wasn't able to cope up with my surroundings, I'd rather get into some institution or trying to create an identity somewhere. Something I would look for something outside of me. Okay, like I wasn't looking for a solution which was inside me. So I think the proper solution to this problem would be first understand what your own limitations are, and it's quite difficult to accept your own
Oh,
mistakes.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, being self-critical is difficult. It's also dangerous as well, because a lot of people can be too self-critical, right? And that's also negative, because
Yeah,
that affects your self-image, and everybody needs to find the positive part of themselves that's deep down inside. Everybody's got it, but it's not an easy thing to find, I think.
positive. Yeah, actually, it's not a negative. It's not bad actually. It has a message to tell us. Like if there's something bad about you, like let's say you have anger issues, and you fail to acknowledge that, and people around you can very clearly see that you have anger issues. But if you don't acknowledge that you have such an issue, and you will just ignore what you really are, and people will think that you don't have any
Okay,
issues.
so I
So that's it.
think that one of the ways that people develop relationships within society is that they understand that like attracts like. Yeah. So people gravitate towards things that
Yeah,
are similar. And let me give you a basic example. It's like if you like the music of, I don't know, like Bon Jovi, right? You look for other people who like the music of Bon Jovi, right? So
yeah,
so we as people
yeah,
often surround ourselves with other people who are very similar to ourselves. And when we're all very similar, it's really hard to see the mistakes, because everyone's doing the same thing.
Actually, those kind of people, they are quite afraid to open up. So all those activities are actually shields for blocking their own self. They don't really want people to know who they really are. So instead, they'll watch a TV show or watch sports and everything, so that they have something to talk about. They cannot really communicate with people
Oh yeah,
who
and
they
it's
really are.
it's one of those great historical questions, like who am I, right? Yeah, I did. Who am I really? Who or what is that personality that's deep down inside of me, and how much of me is me, and how much of me is my friends, my family, my mother, my father, my cultural identity. It's hard. It's hard for people, and as you said, a lot of people they find comfort and solace in things like television and the programs there. They disappear into those topics, or they like sports. Like football becomes their hobby, and they identify with different football teams and so on, and their own self
Yeah, right.
is lost in this sort of
Performing,
crowded
yeah.
society of the mind, because the mind is very often bombarded with media constantly, right? In the modern world, there's everything from the radio, the television, the magazines, the films, maybe what your friends are talking about, maybe what in your work, what your colleagues are talking about, and it's a distraction, and the distractions make it really difficult to focus. So what has helped you focus in the
Right.
past? What systems or methods have helped you discover your own identity?
See, first of all, I have a vision in my head, okay, which I want to give it to my culture, okay, in the country which I live in. I really feel that if I'm able to articulate what my interests are, and be able to communicate my message properly to the people in a way which those people can understand, then I think that many people would benefit from
Yeah.
what I'll have to say.
Is that special for you and your country? Can I ask, which country are you in? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Just give me some orientation. Which country are you in? From India, okay. And
From
so do you think it's
yeah.
easier or more difficult for people in India to find their own identity?
It is easy and it's difficult at the same time. So it's actually not an easy answer, because if it were easy, I probably would have been somewhere else, I feel. But it also depends on what you have to offer to the world. Like if you're a pop star or something, and if you have like a Western style or something, mostly people who are famous over here, they might have all the money and everything, but I don't think they're happy anyway.
Yeah, because it's you know, the people who are successful, let's say they get the big house on the hill, right, and they end up having to build a big wall around their house, yeah, and the big wall, it keeps people out, but it also keeps you inside. So it disconnects you from the world. So there's definitely a lot of negativity that comes with the fame. I mean, there's some power and influence that comes with it, which can be really useful, but on the other side, there's a great price to pay for it, I think, as well. I mean, I've experienced a little bit of it's not fame. It's like I was 10 years ago. I was very well known in the local community because I worked in arts and music and did a lot of activities, and everybody knew who I was, and I just did not like that. I hated that. It was like everywhere you go, everybody has this preconception of who you are and what you do, and they think because they see what you do, they know who you are, and it's so far away from the truth. It's unbelievable, right? Because very few people actually really get to know who you are.
Yeah, right. They just see your public appearance as public appearance as your
and what they don't know, they just make it up, right? You know, they just invent it. It's like, oh, I don't know this about this person, but it's probably blah 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 blah. It's like, my God, just stop and slow down and think for a second, and just, if you want to know something, you know, just ask. Don't make it up. It's just insane, the levels that people will go to create stories about things like that. It's really crazy. So. Let me just check something. When I asked about you know, systems and methods for understanding yourself, for having this level of self-knowledge, for knowing who a person really is, you talked about vision and articulation. Yeah, that it's really important to have this vision, to see things clearly, to not be distracted.
Yeah, distraction is.
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere, right? It's every you just open a newspaper. Everything is some kind of distraction, and
Because I'll tell you one thing. You were asking me how to solve the problems and everything, but actually you know what the solution is.
I think that there's a lot of truth in that, because sometimes when I do some of my work with people and I ask them questions and they say to me, oh, I don't know. And I'm thinking, there's no one that knows more about your life than you. There's no one that knows more about you than you. So, you know, work at it, think about it. You must know something. I mean, when someone says, I don't know, it's like they're running away from something, right? You know, you need to search, you need to explore, and you need to go where you fear to go to understand what you need to know. I think a lot of the time. Hey man, we're coming to the end of the conversation. We get 15 minutes, so thank you very much. It's been fantastic. Thank you very much.